What is up, guys? My name's V and I don't know anything. Today I want to talk about why you should start Jujutsu Kaisen if you haven't already. It's a shonen, so you kind of already know what to expect from the main character, right? We have somebody who's physically stronger, very willful, super hardworking. The typical shonen tropes, but there is an element to this that is not present in other shonen, at least from the ones I've read. We have a character who, right from the beginning, is faced with death, the death of his grandfather. And from that moment on, our protagonist, Itadori Yuji, will be thinking about his own death, the death of others, and what it means to him, especially with his upcoming execution. Before we dive right in, take a moment to subscribe if you haven't already. Attack on Titan may be over, but there are other great series with plenty to discuss, such as Jujutsu Kaisen, Berserk, Chainsaw Man, and more. But back to why you're really here. Why should you read or watch Jujutsu Kaisen? First of all, before we get into the read, the anime adaptation is perfect. I watched the anime first. That's how I got into it, right? And I went through it, and usually I'm a person who really does not care about animation. I am all for the plot, the character development, and the stuff that you would essentially get the same from reading, right? Art isn't necessarily the biggest thing for me. But the entire time I'm watching this series, I'm just going, oh my god, this is beautiful. All the budget that should have been maybe for Attack on Titan Season 4 is in Jujutsu Kaisen, man. It's just like night and day, and they're both from MAPPA, and it's gorgeous, it's beautiful. Every time fights were breaking out, I could just not stop commenting on it. It was beautifully done. The adaptation is very great. It adds on a little bit more that the manga didn't expand on, and it does it seamlessly well. Very well paced. It is great adaptation. Honestly, for me, I'm a person, I tend to prefer anime over manga just because the anime usually provides soundtracks, the voice acting, stuff like that helps me get more emotionally invested. And in this case, yeah, 100%. I would 100% recommend watching the first season and then just picking up the manga from where it leaves off. It is a very well done adaptation, in my opinion. I just went through the manga. The thing is, that's what I did, right? I finished the anime and then I went from the manga, but I started from chapter 1. It felt like the time I went and watched Game of Thrones Season 1 and then started reading the books from the beginning. That first season of Game of Thrones is very well adapted, and I think this is the case. You can just start where the manga leaves off, or where the anime leaves off, and continue with the manga. It is very well, and that before I jump into the story itself, 100%, anime first would not be a bad decision whatsoever. I think you'd be in for a treat if you haven't seen it already. But let's talk about the story and what makes it stand out from other shonen. The main character, and this is light spoilers, like chapter 1, episode 1 kind of deal. Something maybe you could read from the synopsis, so don't worry about getting spoiled. The main character has an execution scheduled because he ate a cursed object that turned himself into a curse as well, due to circumstances with the story. And because of that, he's been scheduled to be executed. But here is the caveat which keeps the story going. The cursed object he ate is only 1 out of 20, and he is the only one who's been able to be a vessel for this curse. So he's been allowed to go and consume the other 19 cursed objects, and then he'll be executed at the end. And that's right there and then sets the tension for the story. We know the end game right from the beginning, and for me, that's super strong, because one of my biggest issues with certain shonens is there isn't an ending in sight. That it could go on forever, you could keep introducing aliens, and it would just never end. And on top of that, basically the person who's the strongest in its universe is introduced from the beginning, so you already know the ceiling of strength, essentially, right? Kind of like All Might and My Hero Academia. And to me, that pacing, that introduction of those story elements is important to its pacing. And I love it. I know exactly where we're heading, and, the main character's execution. And this is the adventures up until that point. Time limits. Kind of like Majora's Mask. You got 3 days till the world ends. The tension, the suspense, it's great. It's not open-ended. It's One Piece. You're heading towards One Piece. We know the direction we're going, and I think that makes for great storytelling. It keeps it nice, tight, and compact. And I love it. I love it. And, with the execution in Bound, the main character agrees to the terms to go and collect the other 19 pieces and then be executed at the end, because of what I mentioned earlier. There's a huge theme of what death means. And for the main character, he doesn't want to end up like his grandfather, because of his grandfather's last wish, is he wants to die, basically choose the time of his own death and be surrounded by people, because his grandfather wasn't, except for himself. And he wants innocent people to pass naturally, whatever that means, and he wants to get the power to make that possible. And, just thinking about that, you already know that's not an easy feat, because anything can happen even before you, take the world of curses that Jujutsu Kaisen is about. And it's very compelling. The Itadori Yuji, I've actually noticed this is a big difference in protagonists in the shonen series with the more later ones. You go a little farther back, you get people like Goku, Luffy, Naruto. They're like, a little bit denser, not the brightest bulbs, but, they can easily change and become serious, and, those are really cool moments. But, more recent protagonists like Deku, Tanjiro, and Yuji here, they, let me throw Asta in with the, dense protagonists, even though he's a little bit more newer. But, the new types of protagonists, there's a little bit more to them. They're a little bit deeper. Tanjiro is just a really good guy who, even though he's good, isn't against killing, and then he feels bad, and that makes him compelling. Deku is super smart and empathetic, and that stuff like that makes him compelling. Well, Itadori Yuji, he, in a lot of ways does remind me of Tanjiro. They're not really similar characters, but the way he feels for others, feels for potentially even enemies and things, I think that's really compelling. And the other thing great about this, series from the manga to show, like My Hero Academia, they show you the other side. You get to see the villain's point of view and what they're plotting. And I think that makes for really great, entertaining story. It just feels so well crafted and well thought out. I like it in My Hero Academia when you hear all the villains, discussing their plans. It keeps the plot moving, and you kind of have an idea of the two opposing sides and what they're after. And those clashes are amazing. Most of my content on this channel has been Attack on Titan. And, if you heard me talk about it, the favorite part of the series is the, return to Shinsagama. However you pronounce it, man, I'll never, ever be able to. And, the battle between the, Titans, the, Reiner, Zeke, and Bert versus the Scouts. And you get both sides and point of views. Death Note, what's it called? You get, Light versus L. When you have these opposing sides, it is just something so entertaining. It keeps the suspense going. You can be emotionally invested. You end up liking the villains. And it just ends up being so great. And this is what Jujutsu Kaisen provides you. It provides you a ceiling so you can infinitely power scale. It provides you a destination with the 20 objects you need to collect. And the execution happens, and that's, it's essentially, supposedly, the end of the story. It has the two different sides, and it just is a well-crafted. And the art, I talked about the animation in the, in the anime, but the art itself is really well drawn. It doesn't stack up against, like, the best, like Vagabond, Berserk, but, like, the art is really great. And just something about it, and makes it pretty obvious why it's so popular now. If you look up Jujutsu Kaisen, it is breaking records in how popular it is. And I think it's extremely valuable to check it out. That's, be one of the early people. I mean, as early as you can be now. It's definitely, after anime became popular, a lot more popular. But, eventually, however it ends, you'll be one of those people. Did you even read the story? I missed this when the community was small. I've seen those comments for Attack on Titan. But no, it's fun to jump in, get to experience the discussions, get to theorize, and enjoy the journey. I think it's a great series to jump in. It is a little bit darker than most shonen again, and maybe that's the way shonen has been trending recently, but I like it. I like it a lot. It does very well, and it is a battle shonen, so you're gonna see fights, You're going to see a bunch of different characters, you'll get their backstories, you'll get to tear up if they're well done. The humor in the manga is on point. It has me laughing at panels, and the anime, took the humor and did a great job, and it's still funny. The voice acting in the anime is good, the tone, everything about it is great. It just screams quality. The author, Akutami, is hilarious. I enjoy reading his little blurbs in the volumes. I say check it out. You have nothing to lose. I recommend the anime first, but start as you please. They're both quality. I did enjoy my manga. It's not a reread, but I was treading through the same story. It was great, the second time through. Hope you enjoyed my recommendation. I'll probably recommend some other series that I'm into just to give you an idea of where I'm coming from. Light spoilers or not at all. Because, at the end of the day, when I'm reading my series, it's based on enjoyment. And I want to recommend it to you guys because I enjoy it, and if you've subscribed or you want to subscribe, I'm really passionate about the stuff I read. And yeah, like I said, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you stick around and like, comment, subscribe, anything. If there's any series you wanted me to check out, please, feel free to mention. Somebody recommended me Land of Lustrous and Fire Punch. I read the synopsis of both of those. They look great. I can't wait to read them. Anything else you guys want me to check out? My Hero Academia, One Piece, I read both of those. Let me know. Once again, I'm gonna keep thanking you guys. Man, I love this channel. I love the community. See you guys next time.